Terry rushes into the doctor's office, Dr. Jones's office, in a panic. He has a parsnip in one nostril, a radish in his left ear, and a banana in his right ear. Doctor, doctor, Terry wails, I've got a dreadfully sore ear, and I can hardly breathe. What's wrong with me? Dr. Jones looks at him for a few moments and shakes her head and answers, Terry, you're not eating properly. Mr. Toastmaster and fellow communicators. Recently, I attended a conference in the US where the keynote speaker was a noted microbiologist named Dr. Myron Wentz, who revealed some pretty startling facts about why it is so vital for us to continue to use supplementation with our daily food. Today, I would like to share a few of the ideas that I felt were important, and I would like to pass them on to you, my friends. The famous Nobel Prize-winning scientist, Dr. Linus Pauling, you've all heard of him, said, you can trace every sickness, every disease, every ailment to a mineral deficiency. Interesting. Of course, that goes for all vitamins and other nutrients as well. In fact, the World Health Organization considers undernutrition to be the single greatest threat to world health. Deficiencies in essential micronutrients have serious health effects on all ages of people, especially children in developing countries, where up to 14 million children lose their vision due to a deficiency of vitamin A. One vitamin. In fact, 500,000 to 600,000 of those children go blind every year, and half of them die after losing their vision. That's 500,000 people, or 250,000 people that actually leave because they're missing one element. Now, of course, they're in a different situation than we are, but nevertheless, they are part of the human family. We need nutritional supplementation more today than ever before. So since the start of the Industrial Revolution 2 centuries ago, we have made our environment, our world, really unfriendly to most forms of life. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the soil that produces our food have greater amounts of pesticides and heavy metals and toxic synthetics than ever before. We've never been at this place before. But there's a plus to that, because, or not a plus, but there's a counterbalance to that. Because if we have the right input of those nutritional elements that we're missing, we can actually offset that difficulty. Now, to begin with, most of the foods that are provided by, guess what? Mega food corporations. And they're interested in the bottom line. They're not interested in us, the consumer. Therein lies the problem. And of course, the real reason that they have developed high production techniques, monoculture, where they really focus in on high production. They continually put fertilizers on their fields so that they get production, and they don't do the things that traditional farmers used to do, which was roll the earth in with let the fields go fallow, all those things that we understand. So around the world, our soils are so depleted that we're actually taking out the nutrition, the elements out of the soil at a rate that's 100 times faster than their ability to replenish. Now that's serious, because we're not putting it back. We're not actually investing in the soil that feed us. Agricultural authorities at the UN estimate that we are actually heading for a crisis. And the misguided attempt to compensate for this wholesale abuse is by pouring billions of pounds of fertilizer on the ground, on the actual food producing lands that we have throughout the world. The problem is that we're generally only putting in 3 elements. And those 3 elements are phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen. Now those are not enough. We need over 40 different elements in our diet in order to actually sustain us in a proper way. Now, a recent Canadian study compared a range of staple foods, including tomatoes, bananas, apples, onions, broccoli, and potatoes. And finding most of them were actually at a deficient loss. Now, here's a little graph that shocked you a bit. So over the past 50 years, for example, the average potato has lost 100% of that vitamin A, that exact nutrient that we're talking about. 57% of the vitamin C and iron, and 50% of the riboflavin or vitamin B2. 28% of calcium and 18% of the thiamine or vitamin B1. Now think about how many North Americans eat potatoes with their meal and consider that to be the main vegetable. I mean, the whole world of fries and whatever we're faced with. That is missing those elements that we assume we're getting in our food. But there's a second and perhaps worse problem. Chemicals and toxins in the food we eat every day, obviously. But we think that food is going to protect us by eating well. But if we're getting chemicals in our food as well, then we're actually having a little bit of a difficulty here. The amount of money they spend on pesticides is over $25 billion a year. If you think about $25 billion is the amount of actual pesticides that they put on to keep the bugs from destroying their cash crops. More than a decade ago, an environmental survey group tested the blood of some Americans, and what did they find? A total of 287 toxic chemicals in those blood specimens, with individual test subjects averaging over 200 toxic chemicals each. Of those toxins found, 28 of them were waste products such as dioxins and furans from pesticides. In addition, they found 47 toxic from consumer products such as Teflon and flame retardant. And most serious was the detection of chemicals that had been banned over 30 years ago. But these test subjects didn't get their toxins by consuming the air or the food or the water around them. They couldn't have, because they were all newborn babies. The blood tested was taken from their umbilical cord. The toxins came from the nourishment they'd received from their mothers. So multivitamin supplementation can provide you with the most effective solution to give your bodies all of life's essential micronutrients. But it's only when you make them a part of your everyday life that they can actually have an impact. You can't just take them once in a while. It's got to be part of your routine if you're interested in making a difference. We control, for the most part, what we put in our bodies. And it's important for us to seek out ways to maximize our protection with added supplemental nutrition. It's not just a cliche, but it's a reality. So do some research online. Find the right way for you to help your long-term health and prospects improve. Your body and your family will be glad you did. And remember, senior moments are like vitamins. Everyone gets one a day.